We're here today to discuss technology and digital composing and writing digitally. We're going to talk about the policy involved with technology in the classroom. We're going to talk about ourselves as technology users. And we're also going to talk about how we're going to incorporate this technology into our classrooms. I'm Jenny St. Romain, and I teach at Fossil Ridge High School in Fort Collins, Colorado. I teach 12th grade language arts, and journalism.
My name's Adam Mackey. I'm a graduate English education student, and my emphasis has been new literacies as of recently, and Cindy just said that on a flash drive.
Hello! And I'm Stephanie Griffin, and I am currently, I guess what you call a pre-service teacher. I'm studying to become a teacher, eventually, hopefully, of 6th and 7th graders in language arts. And just before we get any further, today is Wednesday, June 9th, 2010.
2:20 p.m.
Right. Got to have that on the record.
Well, something that I read in that first, it was actually in both of the pieces that we read. There was information about the reading teacher that used podcasting in their classroom, and I think it's really interesting on a theoretical level what that can do for our language. I mean, even this conversation now, we're going to listen to, and we're going to listen to ourselves. And that one piece talked about English language learners and how this technology can be applied to them. And I think that's just really fascinating to be listening to ourselves and having the playback where especially if you're trying to acquire, a language, it just seems like that's going to be a really effective thing in the future.
And looking at how it applies to English language learners, of course, through this whole, from Monday on, it's Wednesday now, we've been talking about digital writing. And I told you guys earlier that I am really interested in seeing how this can be a tool for revision. Mm-hmm. And I can see, already I have my students read their essays aloud or they're writing aloud, maybe partner up because you can hear maybe awkward phrasing and that kind of thing. I think it could also be a requirement to podcast your writing to yourself and listen to yourself. In terms of what it's going to do to English language learners, how can it also help us become better writers or better revisers of our writing? So another way to apply it to a classroom is kind of where I was going with that.
And another, just to kind of piggyback off that, based on like the iPhoto that we learned today and that we did with the kids today, a great application that I'm thinking of right now is a way to respond to literature. So so you have kids read, a chapter or a book or whatever, a poem even, and then they go and either take their own pictures or find images, on the internet that they believe, best represents their interpretation of the book or the text. And then, they could put it to music or whatever, or they could even do the 5-frame stories, which is what we did today. Obviously, based on the length of the text you're reading, you have to make it fit that. But I think that would be a great way. I'm always looking for new ways to get kids to respond to text, especially as a pre-service teacher. I kind of am stock loading those just because I don't want to just do the boring, like, write a summary and that sort of thing. So I think that being able to use something like iPhoto or even iMovie, even podcast, like they could even do something like we're doing right now, which is have a discussion and then be able to go back and listen to that again as a way of studying or just kind of, revisiting the response to the text. So
one experience that I had today in working with iPhoto, and it relates to your thinking with revision, and I think technology really allows us to constantly go back and revise. Really emphasizes on process and not product. And some theorists talk about this new capitalism and how what we're doing isn't product based; it's process based. And today, I was exporting our 5-frame story, and I couldn't get it in the right file format that I wanted it to be in to be able to go up on the Ning. I couldn't get it in the MOV with the scrapbook theme that we had applied to it. For some reason, it wasn't going. And then I went to lunch, and it's just so funny how these things work. And back in my mind, it was just bothering me. So, I went to the park, and I ate lunch, and I came back, and I got back early, and I was like, I'm going to figure this out. And I was the only one in the room. and I was able to figure it out and get it on, and it just took me that, a little bit of extra time to sort of like figure it out. But the nice thing is that you can just, with a digital document, you can go back in at any time, and you might have to wait a little bit for it to export or mix down, but you can make those changes. It's not like, drawing a drawing in ink, or painting a painting in oil. It's not set where, it's malleable in that way.
You said coming back and spending some time with it alone. I noticed myself when I reflect on myself as a user of the technology today, and it was new to me. I needed to be alone with the computer for about 10 minutes to orient myself with it. And I don't know how that will logistically work in a classroom for students who are like me and need that, and that alone time with the technology helps rather than the collaborative time right away. It might not be something we can offer our students. Maybe, I don't know, but that's maybe one of the things where we're putting it into practice. How will that play out in my classroom? I don't know the answer to that yet. So, and the other thing, Stephanie, I wanted to mention about something you said earlier about taking a piece of writing like a poem and responding to it. What I noticed the girls in the fifth grade girls that I was working with today with the iPhoto was that when they started playing with the music, they realized they could change the tone of the piece. And that was a way to teach maybe tone even in your writing and how to incorporate tone in your composing your writing.
And using the 5 stories, you can also, from a revision perspective, from an editing perspective, you can say, so, like you have this essay that you've written, a written essay on paper, and then you have a 5-frame story. You can show them the parallels of, okay, if you move a frame around, what that does, just like if you move a sentence around or if you move a paragraph around. So you can show kids how there's definitely a parallel, and it changes the way that somebody's going to read that story or read that, essay. So, I don't know. I think that there are a great deal of possibilities of, linking the two, whether it's podcasts or videos or slideshows or whatever, with more of just the art of composing in general. And I think kids, especially struggling and non-motivated ones, if you can kind of show that connection and that link using interesting technology like iPhoto or iMovie or what have you, podcasts that hopefully they'll catch on and they'll enjoy it and they'll get something out of it.